today, we start with my Dallas Cowboys. Dak reportedly back at the negotiating table with Jerry Jones. Shannon Sharpe, I ask you, does this mean a deal is coming soon?
Yeah, the most important thing this offseason for the Cowboys is to get this deal done, because they know their season is pending on Dak being happy, Dak being in OTAs, Dak being in mini camps, whenever that were to take place. Skip, look, last year this was an 8-8 ball club. They lose Travis Frederick. They lose Randall Cobb. They lose Byron Jones. Who have they replaced these guys with? No one. Now, remind you, you're 8-8. You haven't replaced those guys. Now, Dak doesn't show up for OTAs. Dak doesn't show up for mini camp. There's a possibility he might not show up for training camp, because here's the thing. His only leverage now is the threat of holding out during OTA. That's his only leverage. He has no more leverage now, because they've tagged him, put the exclusive tag on him. He can't do anything. No other team can talk to Dak. Dak can only threaten. Okay, we got a new head coach. We're supposed to have 3 mini camps. I'm not showing up to any of them. We're supposed to have OTAs. I'm not coming. Okay, what you gonna do? Jerry has already talked about his football mortality. He says, if I can just win one more of these things, he feels like there's something missing, because he had such success. That tree bared so much fruit in the beginning of Jerry's tenure of owning the Cowboys, and now he's gone 25 years without having another bite of that fruit. He knows everything that he wants and hopes is pending on getting Dak signed to a long-term deal and Dak being happy. Dak's not happy right now. You know, no one is happy with the franchise tag, especially someone that feels they've earned it over a 4-year stretch in which he made slightly more than $4 million, go to 2 Pro Bowls, Rookie of the Year, and he wins a playoff game. Dak says, okay, the ball's in your court now.
Okay, allow me to start by saying this isn't just good news for me. This is great news. This is the first ray of light I've had this entire postseason with my Dallas Cowboys. You mentioned all the defections. It's been one after another. Robert Quinn, obviously, and Byron Jones, and Randall Cobb, and blah, 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 blah. And then we lost the great Travis Frederick, as you point out. And it's been nothing but woeful news within the world of sports for me with my Cowboys, and obviously out in the real world. But this is not good, but great news, because I believe, Mr. Sharpe, this signals the end of this impasse, this long stalemate, this drawn-out, unbelievably awful battle between the franchise quarterback and Jerry Jones. And I believe that once Jerry had to tag Dak Prescott at the deadline, the resulting fallout from that was so negative for both sides that cooler heads finally started to prevail. There has been some thawing, there has been some mediating, and maybe they're about to meet in a middle ground where they can actually, dare I say this word, compromise. Because remember, both sides have a lot to lose, because as you point out, this is the essence of the offseason for Jerry Jones. It should have been the essence of last offseason. This deal should have been done a year ago. You know it, and I know it. But I still believe that Dak was asking for what I would consider, and I think everybody, if they actually knew the number, and we don't know the exact number, but I think Dak and his new agent, Todd France, were asking for out-of-bounds money, out-of-this-world money, beyond Patrick Mahomes' money, to the point that even Jerry Jones said, no, that's too rich even for my blood. And as you know, Shannon, his reputation, Jerry's, has always been for overpaying his stars. I thought he overpaid Zeke, who did not live up to his deal. I definitely think he overpaid all of the offensive line, and none of them really lived up. You might say Lyle Collins did, but none of them really lived up to their deals last year. DeMarcus Lawrence did not live up to his $100 million deal. I don't even think Jalen Smith lived up to his new deal last year. But Jerry has a reputation for overpaying his sons. And you would think his ultimate son would be his quarterback. But that's not the case because, Shannon, as you know, Dak has Heisman posed Jerry Jones from the start. And it's been a good thing for his leadership in the locker room because, you know, all the players can trust that, well, this isn't like Tony Romo, who is definitely like a son to Jerry. We can trust that Dak is a straight shooter.
Right.
He's not a double agent. He's not going to two-face us and tell us one thing and Jerry Jones the other thing. He's going to play hardball with Jerry Jones. So I was afraid that the hardball was going to have ramifications into what you have predicted, which is holding out of OTAs, maybe holding out of training camp. Who knows, maybe even holding out of real games and going Le'Veon Bell on the Dallas Cowboys. And to me, knowing Jerry the way I've known him, and I wrote 3 books that heavily involved Jerry Jones, when they leaked the fact, and it started with WFAA TV in Dallas, so that was a straight leak, I believe, from Jerry himself. If WFAA leaks that they're back at the negotiating table, I think that's the first huge, great sign that a deal is imminent. I think the ground has finally broken, and I believe in the very near future, they will announce that they have finally, cooler heads prevailed, come to terms. What do you think of that?
Well, you better hope so. Because here's the thing, Skip. If we look at it, you look at Tom Brady's press conference. Tom says, I don't really want to dwell on the past because I'm worried about the future. And it's not what have you done, it's what will you do. So if that's the case, if you're not going to pay Dak on what he's done in the previous 4 years, which is win 2 divisions, win Rookie of the Year, and you know what, he finished, 3rd in the league in passing, which was a couple of yards short of the Cowboys record. What do you believe Dak is going to be able to do moving forward? Isn't that how you're supposed to pay someone, Skip? Isn't that what the contract about? It's not lifetime achievement. It's not about what you've done in the past. You tell me all the time, they can't pay a player based on what he's done. They're paying a player based on what they believe he can do. Now, if you don't believe Dak is going to win you Super Bowls, if you don't believe Dak is your franchise guy, why are you dilly-dallying around? Why are you wasting this man's time? Because you know you believe he can do it. They believe he can do it, but they want to get him at the cheapest price possible. Like you said, Skip, Jerry Jones is a negotiator. Jerry Jones has pride. His pride is, man, if I can get Dak for less than market value, I've done a great job. Dak Prescott says, no, that was always the rule. Dak was never going to give Jerry a discount. And especially, we look at all the deals of big quarterbacks that's gotten done over the last year. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff. Everybody had multiple years left on their contract when they got their money. Dak has no years left. And you want me to take less money than some of the guys that had 2 years left when I have none. I wish I might. And y'all need to stop bringing up, well, what about all the No. Don't worry about what money I make, Skip. Let me say for the sake of argument, I got a friend and he says, you know what, Shannon? I got this hot stock coming out. Nobody really knows about it yet, but I think it's going to be good. I take my money. I invest in it. I hit it big. Fox can't come to me and say, well, Shannon, you know you made it big or that stock now, so you don't cut us a little slack. That ain't got nothing to do with you. What I do outside of the Cowboys has nothing to do with the Cowboys. If I got 100 commercials, don't worry about that. Worry about what I do in the locker room. Worry about what I do on the field. And if that doesn't concern what I do in an endorsement deal, get that man $80 million, fully guaranteed, $120 million guaranteed, and we got us a deal. Other than that, kick rocks.
Okay, well, I'm going to kick rocks back at you because obviously if Dak Prescott were the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, he would not have 12 national TV commercials. He is the quarterback of America's team, and he benefits greatly. He would not have 12. It's something about that star on the side of your helmet. You can ask Troy Aikman or Tony Romo or Roger Staubach. You are blessed. You are it. You are seen nationally as godlike because you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And again, Dak's not not a real entertaining guy in and of himself. He doesn't have great off-field charisma. He's not exactly a quote machine, but at last count, he has a dozen national TV commercials because he's the quarterback of America's team. So you have to take some of that into consideration.
Why?
Now, you also have to, well, you just do, because you wouldn't get that in Detroit or Tampa Bay, where Tom Brady is right now, or Miami or anywhere else. There is something about the Dallas Cowboys, which is why they are the most valuable team in all of sports in the world.
Skip, how about this here, Skip Bayless? Let me tell you how this works. If you're great and you play that position, you're going to get commercials where no matter where you are. Dan Marino sold isotona gloves in Miami, Florida. When was the time you ever go leave gloves in Miami?
Okay, that's one. He didn't have 12. You know it, and I know it. So here's the point. What just happened. Yep. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Make your point. No, go ahead and make your point.
Look, the reason they're back at the table is in large part because of those 12 national TV commercials, because the fallout was so negative from the franchise tag. Here I am on Undisputed saying, I think Dak's getting a little greedy here, that I think Dak was starting to get a little nervous about losing some of those endorsements because it just looked bad. It was a bad look for Dak Prescott. And Jerry was starting to look bad because he's got a lot of endorsers that buy his product too. And it was starting to develop real negativity around it that they've never had. Because remember, Jerry has never, well, the franchise has never used a tag on a quarterback before. And as you and I both agree, it's the one thing we do agree on. There's nothing good that ever comes of a franchise tag. So I think that the PR negativity of this brought both sides back to the table because it was starting to feel like damaging going forward for both sides to be fighting because there's a tag in between them. Go ahead.
Guess what, Skip Bayless? Because I have 12 endorsement deals, I can sit on my hands and chill. I ain't got nothing to worry about because those checks, they're still cutting those checks. Yeah. So, Jerry, do your little thing. Do what you need to do. You and Steve, you get out there and talk about if it doesn't feel good to me, I'm not going to do the deal. Guess what? Dannon and AT&T and Pepsi and Tostitos, they still cutting checks. I'm good over here. I'm cool. Do your thing. But I tell you what you won't do. You won't win a Super Bowl without me.
Well, I hope they can win a Super Bowl with him because if he wants beyond Patrick Mahomes' money, there's not going to be any salary cap left to have any supporting cast around him.
What I got to do? Hold on, Skip.
And by the way, okay, yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to say, what that got to do with that? Skip, you told me every person is a corporation. Google ain't got no business worried about what AT&T or what Microsoft. They got no business worried about what they doing. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't have a salary cap. Skip, the NFL has a salary cap. I don't.
Salary cap. Tom Brady took far, far less than what he deserved for 20 straight years in New England. You know it and I know it. And the reason he did it was so Belichick could have more cap room to build around him until Belichick let the whole thing sink right into the sunset last year.
Skip, what did that get at the end of the day? After all those years of taking less money, they still say, get up out of here. So Dak said, and think about it, Skip. Now, let's just say for the sake of argument, Dak says, you know what, Jerry, I'm gonna cut you a little slack. I'm gonna do what you asked me to do. And he goes out there this year, and Lord God forbid something unforeseen were to happen. He gets injured. He getting all that money. Yeah. He gonna get that 4 years, $150 million that they promised him? No. Skip, I need all that. Now, maybe after this contract, maybe I might be willing to cut you slack, give you a little haircut. But not the first time around, Skip. Not the first time around.
Okay, think about this. Right now, we don't know exactly what the tag hit will be against the cap. So right now, Dak is supposed to be counting this weird 26.8 million number, but you know and I know in the end, that's going to go up to around 33-ish. So right now, Jerry, who's always scored with the low end of free agency, the bargain basement deals, is hamstrung because he's still not sure how much the exclusive tag will count against next year's cap. So he needs to get Dak done for whatever money it's going to be so he can keep going back into free agency to get the next Randall Cobb, who you recall they got last year, 1 year for only $5 million. That was a real bargain for Randall Cobb, who then went to Houston and got $9 million a year for the next 3 years. So right now they have an issue with, go ahead.
And they got Robert Quinn on the cheap. Remember, they got Robert Quinn for $8 million last year. And Robert Quinn parlayed that into 12, $13 million with 30 fully guaranteed.
He did. Got it. So I'm told right now that the main issue is an issue that I believe they can resolve. And it's not the exact dollars, 40 million a year or 150 million guaranteed, whatever that is. It's just years. It's 4 years. Dak wants 4 versus 5. Jerry wants 5. Because as you know, Jerry's notorious for the longer deals, 5-6 year deals, so that he can spread the bonus out and prorate it over the years against
over the life of the contract. Correct.
So
that is correct.
Correct. So if it's only 4 years versus 5 years, I think they can resolve that. I'm feeling real good about a deal coming way sooner than later. I was, even yesterday, I thought this thing was going to bleed on into next year. And now the sun is rising for me, and I'm starting to wonder, wait a second, how about them Cowboys? They just might get this deal done quickly, and if they do, I think dominoes are going to fall because I think they'll go out and pick off a few bargain basement free agents that'll be very valuable for the sake of the whole team next year. Your thoughts on that? For me,
Skip, I just don't see how the deal get done unless you're going to somehow guarantee Dak Prescott $70+ million in the first 2 years. I just don't see the 4 years. You can do 4 years, you can do 3.5, you can do 3.25. Dak Prescott is looking for maximum dollar over the first 2 years of the contract because after that, Skip, all bets are off. After that, basically after you get past the first 2 years, you can just start ripping up the contract because either they're going to look for you to move on, or they're going to come back to you and tear it up because it's like you're making too much money. So I'm not even worried about the last, if it's a 4 year deal, I'm not worried about year 3 and 4. If it's a 5 year deal, I'm not worried about 3, 4, and 5. How much am I going to make the first 2 years of the deal? Dak Prescott said, look here, Jerry, what you got on this? You got $70+ million sitting in your mattress? Because I know you got one of those big old palatial estates up there in Highland. Where do you say you stay? Highland Park? Is that where Jerry stays?
Yep.
Highland Ranch?
He does.
Mm-hmm. So I need you to go.
Right there by SMU in the middle of Dallas. Yep.
Well, I need you to go back to that old back bedroom, and I need you to cut open that mattress and pull out $70+ million and bring it to Todd France, and we got us a deal. But for first 2 years, I need the first 2 years fully guaranteed.
You keep forgetting everybody has the same size mattress. Everybody has to cut open the same mattress every night and pull out exactly. He does not. He has the exact same size salary cap mattress. Everybody does. And you can cut open your mattress and pull out your cash that you stashed. And all of a sudden, everybody's cash is going to run out at the same figure because it's capped. And the players just agreed once again to a hard salary cap as opposed to the NBA's soft cap that it feels like it didn't cap at all to me.
Skip, you know what? Even at the cap, one of the problems that I have with the CBA, and you know I have many, is that the mere fact that you still allow the NFL to have a tag. You can do soft, hard, medium. It doesn't matter. Lukewarm, poached, over easy. It doesn't matter. The fact that you allowed the NFL to keep this tag.
Nobody, it's not I allowed them. The players just voted for it. They ratified that deal. New CBA, next 10 years, right?
Yeah, because you know,
don't blame it on me.
No. I'm not blaming you because here's the thing. Skip, a lot of these guys are looking, I'm never going to be able to get tagged. So I'm never going to be that 1%er that has to worry about this. So let me go ahead and collect this extra $50,000, $100,000 or whatever they're going to get, whatever the minimum, I think the minimum salary now is going to be $650,000 or something like that, Skip. But for Dak, having to wait to the end of his deal, having to navigate shark-infested waters, and to come out the other side huffing and puffing. And so now you're saying, yeah, I know you did that, and it was great, Dak, that you did that. But now we need you to give us a hometown discount. Nah, Dak said, nah, I'm good, cuz.
Okay. I still believe Dak and his new agent, Todd France, were asking for the first 2 years of 40-plus guaranteed. So if you're right, if it's 35-ish or 36 or somewhere in there guaranteed for the first 2 years, I'm great with that, and I believe Jerry would be great with that. And if somehow they can have a meeting of the minds over 5 versus 4, maybe you up the annual just a little bit more for 5 years, maybe Todd France can say, okay, let's go ahead and give him 5 because he's giving us a lot more. And I know with the new TV deal down the pike somewhere, everything's going to go up. Yeah, I got it.
You said we got a new TV deal?
I still say, yep.
You didn't tell me about the new TV deal. Now I want $80 million, fully guaranteed.
Well, it's coming. Okay.
Well, thanks for telling me.
I'm just saying, I'm glad you're not at the negotiating table, and I'm glad they're back because I have a real good feeling about a Jerry Jones who always says, when have you not known me to get one of these things done? And I've always said, well, Jerry, only now with Dak. That's the first time in your history with the Dallas Cowboys you didn't get one of these deals done. And I think now it's about to happen. Way to go, Jerry Jones. Way to go, Dak Prescott.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.